Oh hi, and welcome to SABnessful, where I give my opinions that no one really cares about, but will give anyways. Oh yeah, I got it. Today I'll be ranking the cast of Traitors UK Season 4, and whew, this was a good season, and I am excited to talk about it. Let's just get right into it. Spoilers abound. As always with my tier rankings, I always prioritize gameplay over entertainment, but both are very important to me. So where they land between disliked and love would depend on how good they were at the game and how entertained they were. And they were there too, are for the contestants that were barely shown on the screen. I didn't get a lot of them because they were under-edited or because they were out early. So let's kick things off with the first person that was murdered, which is Netty. And I'm putting her in, they were there. I honestly forgot Netty was there. When I went back to pull these pictures to make this ranking video, I was like, who's that? Oh, right, she was the first person murdered. She had that thing with Ross, which it is a bit of a shame that we didn't get to see her and Ross storyline play out, especially because, spoiler, Ellie is Ross's partner. That would have been interesting to see, so I'm a bit sad we didn't get to see that play out. She seemed like she would have been a fun character, but kind of forgot she was there, so I can only put her in they were there tier. The next is the first person banished, and I'm going to put her in okay. I almost wanted to put in they were there because I also kind of forgot about her, but she was Roxy's mom, so by Roxy being there, it kind of kept her spirit alive, if you will. It's hard to rank her because we didn't see a lot of her. I don't think she had a great gameplay. Like, Roxy gave her the heads up, like, hey, like, it's you tonight, and she didn't really do a lot with that information. But it's the first banishment, and people are going to always throw the wildest accusation towards you because they literally have nothing to go off of, so it's kind of hard to combat that, but I think okay's fair for her. Next is Ben, and he's another one I forgot about, so he has to go in they were there tier. Here's there. What can I say? Next person is Hugo, and Hugo's going okay. He was the first traitor banished, and it's very early to get traitor banished at this point, so that was exciting to watch. I think he did kind of fall over himself a lot. I don't think he had the greatest social or strategic gameplay. Harriet just kind of like zone in on him and just call him out because he was a barrister, which I usually don't like when people hide their jobs because it's like, it's kind of stupid and it's like, it doesn't really play into effect. But in a game like Traitors, where anything can be used against you for bad luck to get you out or to think that you're a traitor, I kind of understand when people hide their jobs, and Harriet's just like, well, you are a barrister, the traitors will want to murder you first, which I think is fair, especially with the first couple murders. Like, the traitors have nothing to go off of, so it's like, oh, getting out somebody who could be a threat because they are a barrister is pretty sound logic, and the fact that you're still here is suspicious. But I always enjoy when a trait gets out early because I think it sets the tone nicely. Like, if we go like 5 or 6 banishments like some other seasons where a traitor has been banished, it's, I think, a really boring season. But the fact that we got a traitor banished in the first week of episodes was exciting, and for me was the indicator this is going to be a good season, and it was. Next is going to be Ross, and poor Ross. I'll put him in good. I don't think he had the best gameplay, but he was entertaining to watch. He had the Netty thing. He was kind of put in the back ropes. It was stacked against him in a way that wasn't necessarily his fault, and he tried his best to defend himself the way he can. He was a bit messy, which was entertaining. It was more of, he was entertained in the sense of like what was happening to him instead of what he was doing, but still entertained nonetheless. He, of course, was partnered with Ellie, which I knew there was something with them. There was so many lingering shots of him and Ellie. It's like, they're definitely like a pair, and I was not surprised after he got banished that Ellie revealed that she and Ross are partners. I do wish that we got that reveal in the first episode like we did with Roxy and Judy. And I think they were trying to create the whole Diane, well, he's not my son, but Ross is moment, which you're never going to get that moment again, so don't try to recopy it. And I wish we just saw that relationship between them, because then it would have been more intense, like, oh my god, Ellie's partner's about to get banished and there's nothing she can do, just like Roxy and Judy. And also, Netty, Ross, and Ellie triangle, even though it's only 1 episode, still, we could have seen it played out a little bit, or at least get Ellie's thoughts on Netty, which we never did. That would have been interesting to hear. Well, I guess I could also talk about there being 2 pairs. I wasn't mad at there being 2 pairs in the game. That hasn't happened before. It was worth a shot. Kind of fell flat because by the 3rd banishment, both pairs were already separated, but at least they were trying something new. I do hope in the next season they don't have another secret pair. I just think if you keep doing it every season, the novelty of it kind of wanes away. So I hope they go a couple of seasons without doing it and then maybe bring it back as like a surprise. Next is going to be Nas, and Nas, also they were there. I feel like he was barely on the screen. He was always on the murder list because he just was for some reason, but I feel like we never got to know him, and what he did give was like, he didn't seem like he was that intelligent of gameplay. He wasn't that messy in an entertaining way. He was kind of just neutral and bland and just there. So that's why I'm putting them in they were there tier. Next is Amanda. And I'm gonna put Amanda in good. For a detective, I don't think she was that good at the game. She was like sussing out Jade and Sam. It was really Jade she was into. This is kind of someone who's not a psychologist or detective or whatsoever. I think what happened to her is she trusted her instincts too much, which, I mean, to be fair, you gotta trust your instincts in the game, especially a detective, but I think she trusted it too much, and she picked up on things that Jade was doing that she thought was suspicious. But I think, how do I want to say this? I think in this sort of situation that is an extreme situation, you're in a gameplay, characteristics that might seem that someone is guilty of a crime is not going to be the same characteristics that are going to be displayed in a game of Traitor versus Faithful. I think she picked up on moments like, oh, I've seen these moments in like criminals, and there's a clear indicator line. This is a completely different situation. You can't always use those indicators for this type of game. If that makes sense, I think it makes sense. So I think she just kind of honed in on Jade and just never let go and never looked elsewhere. I think she had looked elsewhere. She might have been picking up other things, so she just honed in on Jade, which was frustrating because I wanted her to be really good. I wanted her to like be the traitor hunter, and she wasn't. But she did bring a lot of entertainment value because of her kind of messy gameplay and a whole like bad detectiveness. It was kind of funny and interesting. I thought put an interesting dynamic in the gameplay that I appreciated. Next is going to be Reece, and poor Reece. I'll put him in good. I almost put him in okay, because again, there wasn't a lot happening with him in terms of gameplay, but in terms of entertainment value, like he was just dunked on consistently over and over and over and over. Like people thought he was suspicious. He was in the cage debacle. He just could not catch a break. Kind of like Ross, he just could not catch a break. And as sad as it was for him, it was so entertaining because it was just like, dang, like what's going to happen with this guy? Him just to be like put out of his misery by the traitors. It was such a brutal move. And I know they framed it like, let's just give him a mercy kill, blah, blah, blah. I think it was still pretty brutal to go through all of that and to just get killed anyways. Like, damn. All right, next is going to be the next traitor banished, our secret traitor, and I'm putting her in great tier. I really liked what Fiona brought. I thought she had very good gameplay. Like, I did not catch her as a secret traitor. I thought the secret traitor was Ellie because they kept showing a lot of her, and she wasn't necessarily that good at catching traitors, but I thought, well, maybe it's because she's a traitor herself, and they kept showing her like even after Ross was banished, so she must be an important character. It wasn't. It was all just fake red herring, which I appreciate the show gave us red herrings, but I do think they did a little bit too much red herring, which I'll go over in a second. But going back to Fiona, did not think she was the secret traitor. When she came into the turret, I was surprised. I thought she was doing very good under the radar. I do think she shot herself in the foot by going after Rachel. I completely fault her for that. I think she was in a good position. She didn't need to go after Rachel and just blew up her game for no reason, but I thought she was very entertaining up till she made that bad move. She was pretty good at the game, and I really liked watching her, so I think great tier is a good spot to land in. Now going back to the secret traitor of it all, I did like that they did something new. I like that they were trying to give us a traitor that we didn't know so that we could kind of play along. I really liked how the secret traitor knew who the other traitors were, but they didn't know who she was, and that they could kind of get clues based off of who was on her murder list. The secret traitor came up with the list, and the actual traitors came up with the murder. I also liked that. I wish it kind of went on a little longer because it would have been fun to see them kind of narrow it down based off of the murder suspect list and try to figure out like, okay, who has been on here yet? So who are our suspects? I wish that played out a little bit more, but I think it made sense to bring her in after a traitor got banished. I thought that made sense, and I liked how they kind of, it's not transferred, it's not teleported, it's not transition. That's the word. I like how they transitioned that. Would I want to see the secret traitor again? I don't know. I saw it play in the US, and the US did not do as good of a job playing it out, so maybe not. I appreciated it, something new. I guess in some ways it's nice it ended early because we could just focus on the traitors. That was my one thing I didn't like, is because the traitors were trying to figure out the secret traitor, we didn't get as much gameplay from them in terms of figuring out who they wanted to murder. And what I really didn't like is because they had a secret traitor, they had to give us a lot of red herrings. So there were a lot of people like an Amanda, like an Ellie, like a Sam, who were kind of red herrings, and because they had to give us red herrings, We didn't get to hear from much from the actual faithfuls, what their gameplay was, who were they suspecting. We had to do this red herring edit, which I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I wish we just heard more from the faithfuls. So it was kind of nice that that ended early so we could actually hear from them. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it again, but I also wouldn't be upset if we never saw it again. Moving on, let's go to Harriet and oh my God, Harriet. Oh God, I don't know what to do with you. I loved Harriet. I loved her so much, but then, okay, I'm gonna put her in top of okay for now. She was a traitor hunter this season, sniped Hugo, caught on that Fiona was a traitor, caught on that Rachel is a traitor, that was traitor on traitor violence, and I thought she was going to be the traitor hunter of all traitor hunters. At the end of the second week, at the end of episode 6, she was like, I need to not go after Rachel because they don't have the numbers. I need to keep it secret. I need to hold that to my chest and keep it close. I thought, yes, that's what you need to do. I want to see that. And then episode 7 opens with her going to talk to the traitors in the church. She goes, I know it's you, Rachel. I'm like, what are you doing? No, you had the strategy. I was like, no, why are you doing this? That said, it was a good moment of her being like, I know it's you, Rachel. It was a good scene, even if it was really bad gameplay. I appreciate entertainment value of it, but I just couldn't help but think, God, why are you doing this? And then she went to the breakfast all like guns raised and ready to go, and she kind of just took over the breakfast table, which I think she needed to do. She was like, I didn't understand this whole thing of like, oh, like the 5 of us need to talk about what we want to do with the traitor questions. I was like, no, like just put it out on the table. I thought that was dumb. But I think she did really bad at conducting herself throughout the day. And I don't understand why they do this, but faithfuls all the time will go, well, I'm gonna bring my evidence at the round table. You cannot do that. You need to get in people's ears because you're not changing the mind at the round table. You need to be in the ears all day, laying out your evidence and then lay it out all again for everybody once again at the round table. That is the best way to get your target banished. It's rare you convince people at the round table, especially with how many people are still in the game, to go to your target. And I think the way she conducted herself, she did herself no favors. I really did not like when she was just like, then vote me out then. I get that she cared more about the faithfuls winning. She's like, by me going out, you know I'm saying is true and you can go after Rachel. I still want you to be in it to win it. To me, it was a quit. She quit. And it wasn't like a full-blown quit, like I'm tired of this, don't want to be here anymore. She still quit, and I didn't appreciate that. And I wish she just stuck around a little longer. I wish she tried to, like, if she had just stuck around and was like, and kept trying to stay in the game and didn't kind of pseudo quit, I would probably put her higher. I'm contemplating to put her good because she was so good. Those first 6 episodes, she was on it, and then she just shot herself in the foot for no reason. I do mourn what could have been if she had kept her cards close, and that would have been really interesting. You know what? I'll put her in good. She had really high highs of gameplay and then extreme low lows of gameplay. Next is Adam, and Adam, they were there. Who's Adam? I don't know. He was barely on my screen despite going so far in the game. I mean, what he was giving wasn't a lot. So like, I guess I can in some ways understand that the editors probably didn't have a lot to work with from him. Yeah, he was there. Next is Sam. I'm gonna put Sam in top of good. I felt like he had somewhat of a strategical mind. He was looking in the wrong direction, but I appreciate that he was trying his best. Well, I say that a lot, and all the favors are trying their best, and they're just really bad. What? I guess let me go backtrack. First round table, he went after Judy hard, and he said, well, I don't want to be someone to keep in my cards close. I want to put it all out there, which isn't the best gameplay because you put it out there and you're seeing how smart the traitors will just murder you. But I can understand why he's doing that. Him out of the faithfuls this season, I do feel like he was in the upper half of had a pretty good strategic mind to it, even if he was looking the wrong direction. I do think it was a bad call to go after Shield right before he was banished. I think that was a bad game of like, I'm going to do this and go after it. I understand why he did it. I would be selfish too. I would want a shield no matter what. I don't even care if I'm like a big target and I know I'm probably not getting murdered. I still want a shield. That was not the moment to get one, especially because there's only one up for grabs. People are looking at you, and that just gave them more ammunition to vote you out. Because at that point, I think Sam was voted out because people thought he was traitors because they just didn't like him, especially after that shield thing. They just wanted to get rid of him. He did kind of have a smug personality. It was kind of nice to root against him, but it wasn't too smug that I actually hated him. Next is my queen, Jessie. She's going straight to the love tier. First off, great entertaining character. Loved watching her. Loved watching how she was deducing who the traitor was, and she was a good player. Right on the money with the whole library gambit thing with Ben. To backtrack, there were like 6 people in the library. Ben said, if I'm murdered, it's Ross. And Jessie clocked that. It was like, oh, the traitors are framing Ross, and a traitor must have been in that room. She clocked Steven, especially with the cage thing. Like, being in the cage wouldn't necessarily point to Steven being a traitor. There were 9 people, and he just happened to be one of the 4 that were left in the cages. But given the situation, it was half the contestants. It is pretty sound logic to think at least one traitor was probably in there because it is such a big group. And with the library thing, and with specifically Steven coming back, wasn't his fault. He was left in the cages. I don't think they necessarily knew it was going to be when down to 4, but him coming back over Nas was suspicious, and she clocked that. Even when Fiona was gone, and that kind of confirmed the library theory because she was in the library with Ross and Ben, she was still onto Steven, knew it, and just nobody listened to her. And I don't know if I should fault her or the Faithfuls, because the Faithfuls like knew she was a faithful. They respected her opinion. They knew she was very they knew she was very perspective, and yet they never went with her. So is that on her for never being able to rally the votes? Because she was dinging the Steven Bell for so long and just could not get the votes onto him. I just felt bad for her. She's like, please listen to Jessie. She's just so good. She has good logic. So with all of that, she has gonna love to you. Great character, great great gameplay. Loved watching her, and she was, for me, the star of the show. Of the Faithfuls, she was the best Faithful this season. All right, next is Ellie. I'm gonna put Ellie in okay. I contemplate putting her in dislike because I really thought she was going to be someone who was a potential traitor hunter. They showed her a lot in the beginning. She seemed to have decent reads at the beginning, but as the show kept going, her reads were more and more off. She just really wasn't bringing much entertainment value. She was like, I know they voted her for blandest in one of the challenges, and honestly, that's kind of true. She was probably the most blandest person of the season, given with how much they showed her and how far she went. But I didn't like dislike her because she wasn't as loud and wrong as some other Faithfuls were who we're going to get into, and she didn't have as egregious gameplay as other people. So I'll put her up bottom of okay, but yeah, she was really bland. You are a psychologist. I was hoping for so much more from you, and you did not give us that. So it's okay tier for you. I am going to go to Matthew next. Matty. I'll put him in, I think, good tier. Good more for entertainment, not gameplay. He confused me. And why he confused me was the confessional booth, which I didn't talk about the confessional booth twist. I thought that was great. I love the idea of the Faithfuls being able to talk to the traitors. I thought that was so fun. I don't necessarily want to see this every season, but I like that we got it. I think there's different ways this could play out. I think we got the 2 best outcomes with Harriet calling out one of the traitors and then Maddie being like, oh, I want to be a traitor with you. I think those are like the 2 outcomes you would want with this situation and have to play out in this season. So I don't know if we'll get any other better alternatives to this twist. I don't know if we'll get a better outcome, but I wouldn't mind seeing again. Now, going back to Maddie, I do like what he did. I was like, I think it was very smart of him to go to traitors and be like, I want to be with you and I will do what you need me to do so you can recruit me. I think he put too much faith in that basket. I think he really relied on them bringing him in when he should have just, what he should have done is try his best to get recruited and then assume it wasn't going to happen, but still try. But he assumed it was going to, especially after Jessie got murdered because he offered her up as a sacrifice. And what confused me about him is he still kept going after traitors. So you want to be brought in by the traitors. So then in theory, you would not want to banish a traitor because you want to work with them. And I can see the idea of, well, I need to banish one of the traitors that can be brought in. Fiona was just banished, so they already could recruit if they wanted to, so he could just rely on that. But he kept going after traitors. Like he thought Harriet was a traitor. He thought Ellie was a traitor. I think he thought Jade was a traitor for a long time. It's like, you are going after the people you suspect as traitors. What makes you think they're going to turn around and recruit you? Like, where was the logic there? That was really strange, and that's what confused me about him. I think he was a good move to try to get recruited. It was a bad move to keep going after traitors the way he did, and also he was wrong every time. But entertainment-wise, he brought a lot to the table that I really appreciated and liked. So he goes in the good tier. I'm kind of talking myself up to bring him to the great tier. I'm trying to look at I don't like Faithfuls who are constantly wrong, and Maddie was one of those Faithfuls, but I also love seeing when those wrong loud Faithfuls get pie on their face or egg on their face when they see someone they voted out is faithful. I love seeing that. So the longer he stays in, the more he's going to egg on his face as he banishes more Faithfuls, and I love that. Maybe top of good. I don't know. Compared to the cast, yeah, great. He'll be in like the top 5. But I don't think he's great tier worthy. Next is Roxy. I didn't like her. Oop, I didn't like her. She was loud and wrong a lot. She like narrowed in on James, who was such an obvious faithful. And I get James was doing a lot of sketchy stuff, but it's like, that is clearly not a traitor. A traitor would not be that messy. Even though there have been messy traitors in iterations of the show, not that bad. She suspected Steven and had one conversation. She was like, okay, it's not Steven. I think she, towards the end, she maybe came around back to the idea that it could be Steven or Rachel, but I don't think she was ever going to act on it. I think she would have gone to Rachel or Steven at the end. And I do like it when loud, wrong faithfuls get egg on their face when they banish someone they thought was a traitor and they're faithful. But that didn't even happen with her because she pretty much voted for James almost every round table. So we didn't even get that reaction to her being like, oh my God, the person I was going after was a faithful. And we didn't get that with her and James because James outlasted her. So we didn't even get that satisfaction moment of seeing her look bad and stupid for being wrong. And she was just wrong constantly and trusted the 2 traitors the most, which was crazy. So she has to go into disliked. Speaking of loud and wrong, it's James, baby. And James is going in the dislike tier. Top of dislike. I like him more than Roxy because even though he was even louder and messier and wrong compared to Roxy, it was kind of entertaining. It was like a train wreck and it was so entertaining. I did not want him to win. I was like, thank God he's not winning when he got banished. I did not want him to win. He did not deserve it. And I do appreciate that like after he went after Maddie and realized that Maddie was faithful, he kind of took a step back and realized like, yeah, I'm bad at this game. I always appreciate when faithfuls acknowledge, yeah, I'm not good at this game. I love to see that. And because of that self-awareness, I almost went, okay, but God, his gameplay was so bad. Like thinking that Maddie would give you the dagger when you're his most outspoken opponent is crazy and wild. Like you should have known that the traitors are giving this power to you because you're gonna f it up. Like why else would they give it to you? Like that was crazy that he thought that. He was still that. He was after Reece for a while. And even when Reece was murdered, he didn't back down from his standings. It was only after he got multiple people banished that he thought was a traitor that were faithful. And then after Maddie, who he went after the hardest, was a faithful, that he kind of was like, oh, I'm not good at this game. But then he was gonna go after Roxy anyways. And it's kind of the 1-2 punch of both Roxy and Maddie aren't traitors. So he kind of like, well, I have no idea what to do now. As entertaining as it was to see the egg on his face after he banished a faithful, the other person was just so annoying. And then he took a shield during that one challenge, which honestly, secretly taking a shield is something I would do. Don't blame him there. Kind of respected that he went after it. We should double down and just pretending it wasn't him, but it's James, so James is easy to read. And so many people picked up that it was him that took it. I don't think it was bad that he took it, but he didn't play it off well. But yeah, disliked, he was annoying, glad he didn't win. Next is Jade, and Jade goes bottom, okay. She went through the ringer, like people suspect her out the gate for no reason, but then she always suspected the people coming after her. And I get the idea of, I am being set up, so it must be the traitors setting me up. It's clear that Jade is one of those type of players that if you suspected her, she was going to suspect you. And that's always annoying and frustrating. And most of the time, not even how it works. Most of the time, the traitors are going to be a lot more on the radar and coming after somebody because they don't want to be put in the spotlight. And she was another person that I thought could be decent at this game, and she just never had any good reads. I like that she switched her vote after listening to James and Rachel. She was like, oh, you know what? It probably is Rachel. But then at the final 5 banishment, she voted for Faraaz instead of Rachel, which was dumb because you knew the votes were going to be close. You knew you were going to get votes. You knew Jack was going for Rachel, so just go for Rachel and hope a third person piggies back up with you. Then she just voted for Faraaz randomly, and she just had very bad reads. I felt bad for her. I wouldn't have minded her winning. If it was a faithful win, like if it was her and Jack and Faraaz win, I wouldn't have minded it because then at that point they would have clocked the traitors and would have figured it out. And she had gone through so much and somehow managed to last despite so much suspicion on her, which I don't know if she did a good job defending herself, but she made that for us, so I guess she had to do something good. Why is this side of my face so dark? I feel like the last time I had this lighting, this side of my face wasn't dark. Oh, you know what? That's why this light should have been on this side and I didn't do that. Oh well. Moving on to our final 4. Faraaz is next. I'll put him on top of okay. He had a glimmer of genius when he clocked onto Rachel. He figured out the Fiona Rachel fiasco and that it was traitor versus traitor, and he was after her. And then after James got banished and talking with Rachel, he was like, you know what? It's not Rachel. Like, bruh, what happened to that genius? You were right there. You were right there. And outside of that, he never voted for a traitor. I kind of forgot he never voted for a trade. He was kind of really bad, had very bad reads, and he was suspect of Steven. I'll give him that. He was suspicious of Steven for quite some while. He was more suspicious of Jade, but he was suspicious of Steven and kind of did hold on to that, never wavered from that. So, well, top of okay. I think that's fair. Next is Jack, and Jack's also okay. He was kind of another person that we didn't get a lot out of until towards the end. It was like, I'm a personal trainer. That's my whole personality. Okay. It was fun watching him be so wrong because he wasn't like annoying to watch in a wrong way like James and Roxy were. It was more of like, God, I can't wait till he gets to the end and Steven's like, I'm a traitor. How it did end, I much prefer, which I'll get into. But yeah, Jack, bad reads, needed to really look at the people. He didn't want to look at the people closer to him, and he really should have, and that was his fault. He did clock on that Rachel was a traitor towards the end, good for him. And he did to not receive any votes until the final 3 is good on Jack's part. He did a very good job of making people feel comfortable that he wasn't a traitor. So props to him. I actually put him higher. I'll put him second to, you know what? No, I'll put him under Faraaz. Props to him for making sure people didn't think he was a traitor. That was really good. Faraaz did that too, which is why Faraaz is going above Jack, but that's the only kudos I can give to Jack in terms of gameplay. And he was also kind of bland. So, all right, next up, my final 2 traitors, and I love that they won. I love that they won together. I was rooting for Rachel. I really wanted Rachel to win more than Steven. I thought, Steven, please don't vote her out. If he did, I would have respected it because I would do the same thing. Would have been bold and I would have respected it. But I was so glad Rachel won. I think it's a fun story that they both won together. And it's the first time that we've seen 2 traitors win and actually keep the money. Steven's up first. I'm putting him in great. He made a couple strategic blunders in the beginning, like with the library thing and volunteering to go into the cage group. Rachel really kind of saved him in the first half, and then he saved Rachel in the second half. And towards the end, everybody trusted Steven. I think Steven was kind of at that final 5 primed to get to win. It was pretty clear Steven was winning. I do think there was a path where if Rachel goes to final 6, he loses. But once they were on that final 5, it was like, I don't see how they banish Steven. The numbers aren't there, even with a couple people suspecting him. He did a good job socially. He was, I think, the social king in terms of this gameplay. Jessie was too, but definitely a great social traitor. Did a good job getting people to like ride or die with him, like a Fiona, like a Rachel, like a Jack, like a Jade. It was like ride or die, and that benefited him so greatly. And of course, next is Rachel, and Rachel goes in loved. Very good gameplay. The fact that she went so long without any suspicion, it wasn't until towards the end that people were like, you know what? There's been no suspicion on you. Why are you still here? Fair reasoning logic there to go after her. I think she also did a very good job of being a loud wrong faithful. I think that's an underrated strategy traders don't often use because they don't want to be in the limelight, is being a loud wrong faithful. She was loud and wrong about Harriet, about Ellie, about a couple other people, and that made her seem faithful. She did a very good job of coming across that, and I think she was the strategic king in that turret. Clearly saved Steven so much, was very good at checking in with him, especially towards the end, like, I'm throwing your name out there, but it's not real. I'm just doing it because we have to. Don't listen to it. Don't get in your head. Checking in on Steven multiple times was key and keeping him in line. Steven needs to keep her close too. They needed to work together to win at the end. And I think that's what I love most about this season, and why this season ranks so high for me, is because going in that last week, I wanted Rachel and Steven to win, but I did not want an easy win, and it was not easy. It was literally, she got by the skin of her teeth. Is that the saying? I don't know. She barely got by that round table. And so I love that it was not an easy win towards the end. I love that they had to really fight for it, especially to fight for it together, but they do not win without the other. Steven does not win without Rachel. Rachel does not win without Steven. I love that it wasn't just like Rachel carrying Steven, because it was kind of like that for a while. I love that at the end, it had to be him to save her. Love that dynamic. It was such a great ending, and yeah, I was really satisfied. It was a satisfying season. People won that I wanted to win. It was a deserved split win, absolutely deserved. And it was a really good season overall. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I'm going to try to get back to a regular schedule upload. Not that anybody cares. There's probably like 4 people watching this. I am going to try to regularly upload again. And I am going to go back to actually talking about scripted shows, because I've been doing a lot of tier ranking videos because these are just the easiest. It's a lot faster to shoot. It's a lot less effort because I don't have to script things out. I'm just like talking, saying my opinion. It's a lot easier to edit. But I do want to get back at some of my how I change videos because I miss them. And you know what? I'll just say it. I'm working on Stranger Things and Hazbin Hotel season 2. That's what I'm working on. Again, it's the 4 people watching this. Thank you. The next couple weeks, I'll probably be doing like a little smaller videos because I think I'm gonna do Hazbin Hotel next, and that's gonna be such a long video to do, but I'm gonna do it. But I will be back soon with one of those. But thanks for coming, and all I have to say is ta-ta.